Welcome to the No Name Brand Podcast. My name is Sashka Hanarappel, actress, singer, dancer, turned brand marketing, sales, and advertising strategist who brands your soul. And each week I bring you an inspiring person or message to help you discover your undergod, turn up your leadership notches, challenge the status quo, because you're fast and furious with a powerful message to share with the world. Thank you for taking time out with me today, and without further ado, let's get our creative and wisdom juices flowing. Hey there, folks, it's me, Sashka, and I'm back again this week with another gorgeous guest. And our guest today has come a long way. From a crappy childhood with an angry mom and a non-visible father, the eldest of 3 kids, it was no wonder that she was unhappy. She had problems at school, was bullied, and had friendship issues. She always felt alone and different, and sure as heck was happy to get out of her childhood days. Now, when your one goal is to be happy, and I'm sure she isn't alone here, you go on one hell of a journey to find that happiness. And along the way, you may or may not find your personal or your own personal growth and transformation. Now, as a really private person, she has 5 children and 1 man for over 25 years. But prior to that, she'd been in multiple abusive relationships. The whole just doesn't seem to get any. There's like no light here, people. But despite the odds against her, no schooling, very little education, she landed on the doorstep of bookkeeping and not only loved it, but excelled at it too. Now, after creating a business out of this, she was able to see her power for the first time and that she could make choices for her life rather than let life happen to her. But it didn't stop there. Nope. It went on because the universe had more in store for this lassie. And that is just what we're going to delve into today. The journey of the one and only Karin Baines. Hello, Karin.
Hello, my darling. How the hell can I follow that up?
That's just the introduction.
I've never had an intro like it. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's nice to have information that you can actually work with and create an intro. So to kick things off, I want to start off with, share with us the most memorable thing that's happened to you this week that's helped you grow.
Oh, my goodness me. Wow. Do you know what? I'm not actually sure it's happened yet because I think it might be happening tomorrow. I kind of work in the future, if you know what I mean. And I think that that's kind of happening tomorrow because I'm actually getting my butt in gear and taking it out of the house and going to London to meet like about 40 amazing women. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to be my biggest growth this week. But I mean, having this interview with you, I was interviewed yesterday, introduced to a whole new tribe of people, signed up a new client yesterday. So yeah, it's been a pretty amazing week all round. But I think the big one is tomorrow.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, because you're pretty much a private person. So I'm a very homebody. I love being out in public, but I'm a homebody. So I'm just like, yeah, I just stay at home.
I like being at home, I must admit. It definitely takes me out of my comfort zone. So I do try and do that at least once a month if I can. But what with like the holiday season and everything, I've gotten a little bit slack on that. And when my friend said to me, hey, it's about time we went out, then I was like, okay. So yeah, and now I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Good for you. Good for you. Now, you happen to start off with bookkeeping as your entrepreneurial journey. I mean, you just stumbled into entrepreneurship, but it didn't stop there. Now, share with us the journey with money and seeing its effect on people helped open your eyes to something deeper within you to start the business you have today, which is Karmic Conscious Creating, and why you came up with that name.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I got into bookkeeping. I did fall into it. My husband had just started his own business and somebody needed to keep the books. Obviously, brand new business, 5 kids, money was tight. And so it fell to me to do it. And the accountant gal that I was working with just recognised in me that I had a knack for it. and basically said that to me and said that she would support me through my exams and everything if I wanted to go ahead and do that. And that's the first time I'd ever thought about doing anything other than being a mum, really. And so I followed that up. I did really well. I absolutely nailed all my exams. I started doing some work for her as a subcontractor, and it grew from there. But whilst all that was going on, Sashka, I've been on like a self-development journey, let's call it, since I was quite young, like about 12 years old, from being quite unhappy in school and seeing counsellors and just constantly just having that really deep knowing that there was something other than the life I was living. It just felt completely wrong to me that I could be that unhappy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a sucky childhood, but there are a million people out there who've got way worse childhoods than I did. But I was just deeply, deeply unhappy. And so was on this search for just to feel good, just a search to feel good. And that took me down the self-development route. And I read a ton of books and saw counsellors and therapists and hypnotherapists. And all this was going along my entire life, and then obviously collided with the bookkeeping, because what happened was I started to bring in the skill set that I was learning from outside. I mean, then the spiritual path sort of started as well back in 2012. So along with the self-development tools, if you like, and like the understanding of how the mind works and the brain works, I started to line up with my more sort of my intuitive nature and my intuitive gifts. And because I was working with people with money and their businesses, which are obviously an extension of them anyway, I just kind of realized that I was spending a lot of time talking to these people about why they weren't making any money, and seeing a lot easier than they were why they weren't making any money. And it just kind of, those two parts of my life kind of collided until I realized that it was time to let the actual bookkeeping go, and that my passion was to show people through leveraging basically universal law how to align with their divine nature, their divine self-expression. And that's where the money is, when you actually line up with who you really are and who you're really meant to be in the world. That's how I end up doing what I'm doing now.
And explain to us your version, or what you mean by money is an extension of us.
Money is an extension of us because if we're in business, so I work with entrepreneurs, they're the gals that I love to work with. They're in business because they're passionate about serving people usually. I work mainly with coaches and healers. That, funnily enough, I've started to work with a couple of accountants recently, which is really interesting. But mostly it's entrepreneurs, other healers and coaches. And so many of them, like me, kind of fell into what they were doing, loved what they were doing, and realised that alongside that, they were in a position to monetize that. Okay? And basically, if you are doing divine self-expression, if you are truly following a path that expresses who you really are and what you really are here to bring to the world, and you do that, the only possible outcome for that is abundance. And when we're in business, abundance looks like money. That's how we assign value in the world anyway, like a third dimensional human experience. We assign value. When there's something in our lives that we desire or we want and we value it, we pay for it. It's like that, like heating, lighting, food, just really basic needs, right up to a high-end coaching or business. But if we believe that that is going to add value to our lives in some way, we assign money to that. So money is creational energy manifest in this physical plane because we create with it. We create through the process of conscious karmic creation, which is the process of choice and the consequences of those choices at an energetic level. And when we've got money, Sashka, we've got choices.
Yes.
So it represents choice to us. So money is a very sacred thing, and it is an extension of us. It shows us, it doesn't lie. It shows us very, very quickly, which is why I love to focus on business and entrepreneurs because it shows us very, very quickly where the misalignments are, where to look, to realign, to get back in alignment, to create more abundance, because money either shows up or it doesn't. And if it's not showing up and you're not making the kind of money that you want to be making, or you're being called to a new level and you can't seem to break through that, there's a reason for it, and it will show up in your bank account. And that's the quickest, most easiest place to look and flick that switch so that you can break through to the next level.
I'm a pretty practical, simplistic, strategic person, and I have my soul connection and channeling in as well. And there's always debate going on, especially online world, where everyone's like, law of attraction, manifesting money, that's all wonderful, but you can't just manifest money just by thinking about it. Like, you have to actually do something about it as well. There has to be some form of action. So is the action thinking about it and manifesting it? Or let me put it this way. So where is the action we have to bring in? Where's the alignment we have to bring in the money? Because if someone's not making the money, is it just alignment and the action?
Mainly, yeah. Like, it's all about the doing.
Mm.
Like you say, you're very practical, and like, absolutely so am I. I take energy for clients and I bring it down into the physical plane so they can see what the hell they're doing and what the hell they need to do to put things right. Okay. And that is all about the doing. So you cannot sit on your couch 7 days a week and journal and meditate and visualize and expect 100 grand to land in your bank account. It is not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is we are a physical being. We have a physical body, and money is a physical thing. I know we live in a digital age, mostly accessible online, but actual money is representative in a physical third dimensional form. It was created by human beings, not the universe, so that we no longer have to live a life of labor, and we can actually have the time and the freedom to align with our divine gifts and create abundance that way. And in order to change something in our physical world, we have to do something with our physical body, because it's our physical body that affects the physical world. So your mind and the mindset stuff, not saying it's not important, it is.
Yeah.
That it is our guidance system. Our feet, our emotions, like energy, emotion, that is our guidance system. But you must do something. And it is the energy underneath the doings. So that's your choices. Your doings are your choices, but it's the energy under those doings that is then going to be reflected back at you in the consequences of those choices. So if you go around, you can go around thinking and feeling that you want 10K months, 20K months, 50K months, 100K months in your business. And you can journal about getting your new clients, and you can do all that. Okay. And you can really even line up in your business and do the things that really light you up, like doing Facebook Lives or going out networking, masterminding, doing all those things. But then if you're doing any kind of obligation, guilt, resentment, or any of those more lower vibrational energies, energetically they cancel out all the stuff that you're doing right. Because you can't have two opposing energies in the same experience.
Yeah.
Because the universe, energy, higher power, higher self, so whatever you want, whatever terminology you resonate to that works for you, it doesn't recognize good or bad or right or wrong. Yeah. As human beings, we have a perception of what feels good and what doesn't feel good, right, wrong, good, bad. We do, because that's our guidance system. But higher self, energy, whatever, doesn't pigeonhole energy. So if you choose something, if you choose some form of obligation, oh, I've got to do that because X, Y, Z, what that is, and then you go and do that, and the energy underneath that is obligation. The universe is like, oh, hey, she wants more. She wants obligation. She's doing obligation. She clearly must love it. Otherwise, why would she be doing it? Let's give her more. Because that's how energy works. I mean, that is the law of attraction at work. Like attracts like. but people just don't realize how powerful they are. And they don't realize that the choices that they're making right this moment, the choices they made this morning, the choices they made yesterday, last week, right the way through their entire lives, those consequences are playing out every single day, here and now. And the energies that they're choosing, no matter what they're doing. I mean, I work with clients who are like really successful, and the issue that seems to be coming up more and more and more with my clients isn't necessarily around the money, it's around the time. It's a time freedom issue. The money's coming in, it's rolling in, but they've got no time to enjoy it. And then when we look at what they're doing in their business, it's because they're actually doing overwhelm. They're choosing overwhelm and then wondering why they're creating more overwhelm. But you have to take a step back and trust, okay, well, if I choose more time, I will create more time, because then I'm telling my higher self, my soul, I'm saying that that's what I want. What's happening here in your life right now today is actually past. There's not really anything you can do about that. All you can do is change what you're doing now. And it's not just about changing an attitude and doing what you've always done either. That does not work. It's new choices, new energetically aligned choices, and choices that are in alignment. It's the stuff that lights you up, the stuff that makes you feel good. Your divine gifts, doing your brilliance, that's when the money shows up. Because that's when you are doing divine self-expression, and the only possible outcome for divine self-expression is abundance in whatever form, whether it, like, again, there'll be no discrimination here. It will show up in your bank account first, I can promise you that, but it will show up in your relationships, in your health, in your life. And likewise, if you're making misaligned choices, that can only align to lack. Because one of the other universal laws that we're governed by, that I work with my clients a lot, is the law of polarity. And the law of polarity states that everything has its opposite. We have contrast in this world. Everything, good, bad, right, wrong, love, hate, like, it's there for a reason, because it connects us to our guidance system. If something feels a little bit off, we have to have contrast in our world, so that we can have an awareness of what alignment actually looks like.
You know, speaking about contrast, I had an interview with someone, gosh, I think it was already in January or February. It's quite a long way now. Feels like forever. But we were speaking then. No, it was in April. It was in April. And they were saying how the world of healers, coaches, light workers, shamanism, not all, so I don't want to generalize, but just how it's stagnant with money coming in. That's something stirring at the moment. That contrast needs to be there for some of the healed, even the successful ones. There's something just stopping at the moment. And even though they have all this knowledge, it's like they can't do anything. There's just this contrast of stagnant. Nothing's happening. And they just kind of like, where do I go from here? Like, how do you not, in inverted commas, panic when money's not coming, when abundance not coming in, when you've been so successful and things are just stagnant? And when we were speaking, when I was doing the interview, they were just like, you just got to ride the wave, because there's no time. Time doesn't exist. But I'm like, yeah, but there's bills to be paid.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, it's kind of a paradox. Yeah, time doesn't exist. But as human beings, linear time does exist for us, because we have to organize our thoughts and things that actually happen, you know. And when it, like the word manifesting, like if you want to use the word manifesting, if linear time didn't exist, can you imagine the mess we'd be in if we just instantly manifested everything we said we wanted, everything? And then every single time we had a doubt as well, we manifested that. So I don't know, imagine you like have always wanted, I don't know, a Porsche, and you see a Porsche driving down the road and you think, oh, I'd really love that Porsche. I'd really love a car like that. And bang, Porsche in your drive. And then suddenly you're like, oh yeah, but how am I going to like pay the bills? How am I going to get the money to pay for it? Porsche gone. Can you imagine the mess we would be in? Like, supposing you're driving around in your Porsche and somebody cuts you up and you get really mad and say something really derogatory about the other driver, and then they suddenly disappear. Like, it would be insane. So there is a time lapse, there is a time delay when it comes to working with universal law. There has to be. And yeah, when what's showing up in physicality isn't what we would prefer, let's say, isn't what we desire, like we've got got to a point, I mean, I know, call it a ceiling, that is just to tell you that there is something more for you. And that it's time for you to start changing something. Like, our soul gets bored real quick.
Yeah.
Like,
hello, that's my world.
Yeah.
My mom was like, oh my God, you are constantly bored. I'm like,
yeah,
because it's resolved. Whatever I thought about is resolved. I need the next thing.
yeah, exactly. And our soul will call us to a new vibrational level every 3 to 5 months.
Cool.
Every 3 to 5 months. And if you're like what I call a process person as well, which is like part of the deeper work that I do, like the manifesting blueprint, if you're a process person, you're constantly going to be called to the next step, to the next step, to the next step.
It sounds like my life.
You vibrationally shift. That's when you witness your own vibrational shift. Outcome people like me, we don't see our vibrational shift or feel our vibrational shift until we've actually achieved the goal. But process people, they witness their vibrational shift as they're making the choices. They go through that. And that can be quite difficult to handle if they don't understand what's going on there. Because what can happen is they can create something, so they can work on something that they're creating, their intention, their goal. And then when they get to it, it's a bit of an anticlimax. And that's because they shift vibrationally, they shift differently to people like me who are more outcome orientated. And it's a real relief for people to understand where they are on that spectrum of contrast, whether they're more process orientated or more outcome orientated. Because especially in the world that people like us frequent, where people talk about law of attraction all the time and manifesting all the time, it's like a right buzz thing that's been going on what seems like forever now. Like it's some sort of magic source. The thing about that is a lot of the programs and the stuff that's actually out there is created by outcome people. So the process people come along and they do it the outcome way and wonder why they're not creating any results.
Yeah.
It's really important to do your blueprints, to do your divine self-expression, to do the creation of your life and your business your freaking way. No one else's way, your way.
Yeah.
But people don't trust that for many, many reasons. Conscious karmic creation, so much of that is grounded so that you see the evidence unfolding in front of your very eyes of how powerful you are. You are the creator of your experience, your world. Everything else, everybody else, all the other things that are going on in your life, they're just role playing, and they are just an image being reflected back at you through choices you have made. It's a huge responsibility, but it's so empowering when you really get it and you really start doing your business from there. There's no turning back. And the only possible outcome is abundance. So who wouldn't want that?
Yeah. So share with us, what makes you feel good?
What makes me feel good? Alignment. Alignment. Like one of the things, like I say to my clients, your job is to feel good. Your job is to feel good. So if it doesn't feel good, stop doing it and do something that does. Doing being like the word here. Like don't just go and do like a visualization and then go back to doing. Do what makes you feel good. For me, I love pottering around with my flowers and my pots in my garden. I love to do jigsaw puzzles. I love listening to music. I still love balancing. I still do my own bookkeeping and my husband's own bookkeeping. I love doing bank reconciliation. I love getting on calls with clients and witnessing their aha moments when they see how powerful they are. Those are the things that make me feel good. Those are the things that light me up. Those are my go-to like my go-to tools, if you like.
I love that. Oh, God, time's running away. So I've got a few more questions. So why do you consider yourself a thought leader or an expert?
Because I open new levels of consciousness for people. That's my intention. I usually find that when the people that are attracted to me and the work I do, they're ready for that new level of consciousness. So I'm very confident because I'm very aware of how I create, because that's what I coach. So when somebody comes into my field, I know that there's a reason for that, and that I am a channel just in this particular time in their life to open up a new level of consciousness for them to step into. And I'm very confident in that. You know, the cosmic tumblers wouldn't have fallen into place and collided our experiences were I not going to be able to support them in some way to move them forward. That's my zone of genius, and I trust that. And that's my job.
I love it. So share with us, how do you want to change or challenge the world doing what you do?
Wow, what a question. I guess I want to change the world by having people honestly realize how powerful they are and how to take responsibility for everything that they do, every choice that they make it their job in the world to feel good and raise their vibration so that they are raising the vibration of the entire planet. Like the victimization and the blame and all of that stuff, it doesn't belong in our experience. It really doesn't. And if you just focus on you, the ripple effect of that, you won't even be able to see. You won't even be able to comprehend that. So many coaches and healers carry so much stuff around with them about being greedy and being selfish. And it's such BS. It's just another reason to stay small, another reason, another excuse to not create the life you really want. There's no such thing as being selfish. In fact, choosing to think that you need to live a lesser experience because if you show up in a big way, or you show up and do just what you want to do, so many people think that that's selfish, but actually not doing divine self-expression and holding yourself back and staying small and people pleasing and doing all of that stuff is choosing a lesser experience and doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And whatever that energy of not feeling good, that is what you're giving to the planet, because we're all one. That's what you're contributing to the planet. So shine, just do you, raise your vibration, reset and honor your boundaries, go out there and serve people and charge your worth, do what you're here to do, feel freaking amazing about doing that, because then that is the energy that you're contributing to the planet.
I love that. I love that. So the last question, time flies when you're having fun, people. So if you can fill in the blanks on 3 of my values and what they would mean to you. So passion for you is?
Oh, passion for me is, it sounds so corny, but honestly, passion for me is seeing the impact that what I teach works in the world. Seeing the impact that that can have on somebody who's like really doesn't know what their next step is. I am so I love doing that stuff. I love like getting my polarity grids and getting all their information and like, yeah, and if you're doing this and you're doing this and then boom, that lights me up. That is my passion. My work is my passion. I can't help it. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, we are very lucky. Wisdom for you is?
Wisdom is just feel good. Do whatever it is every single day to make you feel good. That's the only wisdom you need. If you actually follow that wisdom and you made feeling good a priority in your life for just one day, you'd be amazed at the vibrational shift that would create if you just did it every minute, just tuned in with feeling good every minute for one whole day. So just feel good. That's what wisdom is.
Yeah. Creativity for you is?
Creativity is making aligned choices. That is conscious karmic creation. Creativity is getting excited and feeling good about what you're creating, the next thing that you're going to create. And then as soon as you've planted that seed, you move on to the next one.
I love it. Karin, thank you so much for being with us here today and sharing your wisdom, your creativity, your passion with us. It's been great having you. And the listeners can find out more about you in the show notes, your favorite book, your favorite quote. You have a free download for them. You can't see Karin at the moment, but I can. And she's got freaking awesome eyebrows. I can't stop looking at her eyebrow shapes as well. So you can find a picture of her and check out the eyebrow shape. I absolutely love it. Gorgeous hair as well. And you can get in contact as well. There's no website at the moment, but there is a link in the show notes where you can download her information or find her on Facebook and on other social media handles where she does a lot of Facebook Lives, where it used to be a little bit of a, oh my God, Facebook Live, but now she's killing it, people. So you can find out more about her. Thank you so much for honoring your gifts and honoring your journey and changing the world by being the change yourself to the world and for the world. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, Saskia, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. And to all the listeners, we shall hear each other next week. And in the meantime, remember to be fast and furious and be the change that you want to see in the world. Love you all lots. See you next week. Bye-bye. Dang, that was just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I enjoyed having you on board, and please do me and you a favor. Head on over to iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Click subscribe, and a super bonus, leave your review and you stand a chance of being announced and advertised on the show. I'm always striving to ensure that your brand is uplifted and empowered. Remember, done is better than perfect. So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and send in your feedback too. You're the absolute best. Keep rocking.